Hello, it's me, Cal as a guy. I'm here to bring you a voice tutorial because it's been asked for a lot. It's actually almost been asked as much as how I get fake boobs. There are a ton of very scientific and in-depth tutorials out there. I've watched countless tutorials, and if you're a pea-brain like me, this tutorial is probably great for you because I'm going to boil down all of the tutorials that I've watched in the past, the really big brain ones that I've had to rewatch multiple times because they're saying words I don't even know what they mean. I'm going to boil that down in kind of pea-brain terminology if you're like a pea-brain like me, and as well as just giving tips that I've learned throughout the past few months of my practice. We're going to be covering kind of four key main things. The first thing is pronunciation. The second thing is where your voice comes from, like what part of where you feel your voice in your body when you talk. Pitch, obviously, that's an obvious one that we're going to be covering. The fourth one, which I think is most important, this little thing in your throat that you need to move up and down. I don't know what it's called, but I'm going to teach you kind of how to move it and how to integrate that into your girl voice and make it sound a little bit more natural. We're going to call this, for the sake of the tutorial, I believe it might be an Adam's apple. I have no idea what it is. We're going to call this little thing, and when we're moving it, I'm going to move it really quickly. You can kind of see it moving up and down. But we're going to be calling it Bob for the sake of the tutorial. We're going to be going over those four key things, and by the end of the tutorial, you should have a pretty clear idea on how to do the girl voice. You probably won't be able to do it because I cannot stress this enough. Practice. You literally just talk in the girl voice and listen to yourself, record yourself, listen to yourself back, talk to friends, ask for advice on the girl voice. The more you use it, the more you'll start to figure out things that work for specifically you. And I cannot stress that enough. You will probably not be able to just sound like God tier gamer right off the bat, because even my girl voice doesn't even sound that natural. But it gets more natural as time goes on. I can even say, going back to my first video and comparing that girl voice to my most recent video's girl voice is like night and day. Just from those few months of practice, you really start to see a very clear difference. So the first thing we're going to cover is pitch, because I feel like this is where everyone kind of gets it wrong. People just automatically, especially me, when I first started doing girl voice, I used to think that just talking in a high pitch equals girl voice. That is not true. That is not true. You can be like, hey, I'm talking in a high pitched voice or whatever, and you just sound stupid. I sounded stupid when I did that, right? So there's more to it than just pitch. You want to know how to obviously raise and lower and higher your pitch or whatever. But you also need to pair that pitch with the practice of moving Bob. We're going to call him Bob. And pronunciation and where you talk kind of from your voice. I want you to right now talk in your normal voice and kind of take a quick mental note of where you feel like your voice is coming from. Like right now when I'm talking here, if my voice kind of comes from like down here or around this area. But like, hey, if I talk in my girl voice, which I haven't warmed up, so it probably sounds bad, I start to notice that my voice kind of feels more up here and more in this area. And that's something I want you to take note of, because when you are talking in your girl voice, you really want to focus on kind of projecting your voice from a different part of your body. And then also pronunciation. Feminine people tend to pronounce things significantly differently. I don't know the main differences, but if you listen, I believe someone else, this might be Nat's tutorial. He talks about it. I don't understand it at all. All I know is that I naturally kind of, because I'm very fruity, right? So I kind of talk in that more fruity way. So this is a part that I never really had an issue with, but I definitely think that you need to kind of base your mannerisms off of someone who's very feminine, because the mannerisms from the way you talk really have a huge effect on how feminine you sound. That's how sometimes people say that you type feminine. It's literally just mannerisms. Mannerisms can make a very big difference in how feminine you sound. So make sure to like model yourself after someone. Find a girl voice, or find a girl that has a voice that you think you could go for and you think you could snipe from or steal, and study their mannerisms, how they talk, the things they do. And you'll start to sound natural through doing that. Personally, I actually sniped my girl voice specifically from Nat. I didn't even go for like modeling my voice after a girl. I just listened to Nat's girl voice and I was like, okay, I'm gonna steal his voice, because I'm entirely unoriginal and I can't come up with things on my own. Now that we've gone over kind of pitch and mannerisms, pronunciation, this is the part where we talk about kind of how to speak. I want you to, when you talk in your girl voice, kind of talk almost like you're whispering. So like if you talk with a higher pitch like you're whispering, it already sounds significantly more feminine, but don't like actually whisper.
you want to like talk like you're whispering, but you don't actually want to whisper. And you just want to be able to like project yourself.
And I don't really know how else to word it. That's the biggest way that made sense to me. You kind of want to talk instead of really talking through your mouth. I want you to not breathe out as much when you talk, basically, almost like you're whispering. You'll start to notice another huge difference here, and this is when the bob part is the final part for really sounding natural, but will probably take you about a week-ish before you're able to efficiently move bob. If you look, I can kind of like, you see, I can kind of like move Bob up and down. I can move Bob and like tuck him up underneath my chin. That's something that you're going to, you might try and do it now. If you can do it, that's great. You probably won't be able to do it. When I first started, I was not able to do it. The way you want to exercise this throat muscle is you want to just hold a swallow. So you want to swallow and just hold the swallow. And eventually, throughout times, if you just do this a couple times a day, do not push yourself because it will hurt. It will hurt. I hurt myself doing this numerous times. This is something another tutorial taught me. They stress this a lot. I'm going to stress it a lot. It hurts if you hold the swallow too often. But if you just hold the swallow, eventually, you'll learn how to move Bob around. There is a very scientific tutorial that I am going to link down if you really want to get into what they're talking about. But you want to learn how to move Bob. So then we're going to pair all the things that I just taught you together. We're going to pair pronunciation, like pronunciation/mannerisms, pitch, Bob being tucked into there, and the little whisper trick that I taught you together. And
then you'll start to sound a little bit like this, which is kind of natural. It sounds pretty natural.
It just sounds better when you pair all four of these things together, and then you're going to want to practice this. You're going to want to continuously practice every day. Maybe hop in like a video game voice chat. I like to go on Val and play Spike Rush and just do call outs and stuff in my girl voice. And it started getting better when I started doing stuff like that, or just play video games, or, you know, hang out with your friends and talk in your girl voice, or talk in your girl voice around the house. And you'll really start to see improvements. Like I said, there's really no shortcut to sounding like a girl, and this tutorial isn't going to work 100% for everybody, because you still need to learn how to make it work for you. You need to learn how to change things that make it sound better for you. You just need to keep the things I taught you in mind. Remember that just because your pitch is high doesn't necessarily make you sound feminine. As a matter of fact, you could probably skip the pitch thing entirely if you don't have a super, super deep masculine voice. And if you just practice your pronunciation and mannerisms, moving Bob, and then the little whisper trick, which you don't even have to do entirely, you can start to sound significantly more feminine. I don't know the entire scientific thing behind it. Like I said, I'm going to link some of the resources that I used if you really want to go and dig yourself down that rabbit hole like I did. But these are the things really boiled down that I figured out over the past few months. So I hope it helps you. I hope to all the trans people out there, hopefully this is helpful to you. To anyone that's just trying to goof around like me, goof around with your friends or on Omegle, I hope this helped you as well. And because it's statistically proven that if you ask people to subscribe, they're more likely to subscribe. Come on, subscribe. We're trying to hit 100K before the end of the month. Oh, wait. Before the end of the year. Come on, subscribe. And join the Discord server. I love you. I hope this helped you.